Well, hello there all you marvelous people and welcome back to Africa. My name is Will, this is an Ecologist Plays, the channel where we're learning more about nature by playing games, and this is the Vurhonga Savanna map in TheHunter Call of the Wild. So, let's crack on, shall we? Now, we have to go find Gustav Baden, which will be somewhere around there, possibly by the potholes, about 2 kilometers away. So let's use the Rooigevaar, the Red Danger, to go find that guy. Now, when we left off last time, we had just unfortunately discovered that the last rhino in the map here has been poached, and we are partly on their trail and partly on the trail of Gustav Baden, who is missing in action to some extent. He's a YouTuber or a YouTuber, whatever you want to call it. So if you want to see more about the saddest episode I have ever recorded, there's a link to that right up at the top there. Also shot a few buffaloes over here, which was a bit of karma for the buffaloes, because the first time I died in this game and the first time my wife Nick died in this game, we died right over here where buffaloes got us. Actually, that little bridge we just drove past, yeah, right at that bridge where Nick was killed the first time. These fever trees, really still love them. Fever trees, the Acacia xanthophylla. Acanthos, referring to spine, and that's why they were called acacias. Nowadays it's Vachelia, I believe. The name has changed, but I refuse to accept that name change. I will forever call it acacia, because it just means with spines. Anyway, not going to go into the Australian-African acacia debate now. But xanthophylla here refers to bark. And whenever you see phloem, for example, that's the inner bark of a tree, which transports sugars from the leaves to the roots. So phloa here refers to the bark. Xanthos, or xantho in this case, refers to yellow. It is refers to ancient Greek for yellow. If it were Latin, it would have been flaviflora, if I'm not mistaken. Flavus referring to yellow in Latin. Oh, hello there. There's a lesser kudu hopping along. That's cool. Love seeing the little kudus here. There's a buffalo also disappearing into the tall grass. We're just going to zoom straight past. We're not going to stop, because if we stop, ooh, we may be in danger. Come on, just keep going. Just keep running. Please, just keep running. I do not want to shoot you now, but I will if I have to. We've got a YouTuber to go get. But yeah, the fever tree here, the bark, the yellow bark of it, if you actually put your fingers and run it across the stem there, you actually have this yellowish powder that gets stuck on your fingers, which is quite cool and very, very easy tree to identify. There really is nothing like it, at least not in the African savanna. But they wouldn't really be found all over this place, unfortunately. They generally are found in lower lying depressions, for example, where water will accumulate during the rainy season. They wouldn't necessarily be higher up on the ridge here. They'll be more in the lower lying area down there. So we are along a steep-sided gorge over here. I'm wondering whether we can actually see the potholes.
The area ahead, you might remember, is popular with the tourists. Stop and check it out.
Okay, Grandpa, let's go check. This reminds me a very similar landscape to Bourke's Luck in South Africa, or the potholes in South Africa in the Blyde River Canyon. Let's actually have a look. If there are potholes present here, it will probably look very similar to there.
Remember these? The giant kettles? We just call them the potholes. When I was a young warden, my friend Mbali and I used to patrol out here. We saw some tourists bring coins and toss them into the holes for good luck. So we started doing the same. We can't do that anymore. It draws too many thieves. The only predators we ever saw here were a family of jackals, always sulking about. They never bothered Mbali and I. At least. You know what? You should keep moving, looking for Baden. There's another spot to the north. Give it a look.
Okay, we'll move on there in a moment.
Grandchild, this is not easy for me to talk about, but I must tell you. One day, we were a man down, so Mbali went out scouting on her own, even though she was not feeling well. 9 hours later, she hadn't returned. I knew where to look for her. Our lucky potholes. But when I found her, she was dead.
Mm.
And the jackals were eating her. Now, those jackals had the taste of people, and you know what that means. 2 females, their litters, their mate. I had to shoot them all. They'd never bothered us, but here, I thought these jackals killed Mbali. I was so angry. After I shot them, I didn't harvest them. I didn't honor them. I kicked their bodies into the holes and left them to rot while I brought Mbali back to her family. The jackals, come to find out, did not kill Mbali. Sleeping sickness did. As gruesome as it was, the jackals were scavenging, not murdering. They had to be put down, but with respect, not hatred.
Okay, I think grandfather is done talking. Right, so quite a few things to unpack there. First of all, the potholes here, not quite like Bourke's Luck or the Blyde River Canyon potholes in South Africa. Those are actually smaller ones, but as the river rushes down here, any little pebble that gets caught in a little depression in the rock will start rolling around, eventually like drilling a tube into the rocks. And this happens all over the canyon like this. And you actually end up with almost looks like a honeycomb pattern, but not quite a honeycomb pattern, but all these sequence of little holes all along the walls here. And this happens over millennia or very, very, very long periods of time. So quite awesome to actually see. And here in South Africa, there were grandfather they said about the tourists tossing coins into the potholes. Yep, we do that in South Africa as well. A lot of people will toss coins into those little potholes there. The second thing that grandfather talked about was the sleeping sickness that we talked about last time, and the jackals eating Mbali. Now, jackals in South Africa at least don't really go and kill people, especially not side-striped jackal. They are the most omnivorous of all the jackal species. They are the ones that will most readily take fruit over meat if given the opportunity. And they also wouldn't really be able to go and take down a human. Not to say that you shouldn't stay away from them. If they have rabies, for example, then, stay away by all means. But jackals, yes, if you are dead and you are lying in the veld, they are going to come and scavenge as well. Jackals are very, very important scavengers along with vultures in the African savanna. So I wouldn't really have shot them though if I were grandfather here, because they wouldn't go now and hunt people. Some animals do to some extent develop a taste for humans, and we'll talk about that in a moment. First, just going to check and see whether we can find any sign of Gustav Baden.
This is the place where I shot the females. I didn't regret doing it, not at first. But then, whenever I was on night patrol, I began to see it. The ghost jackal. Your brother thinks I should be in therapy for trauma, but the Sangoma confirmed the spiritual nature of the problem. The jackal's spirit haunts me, haunts Vurhonga. Now it haunts Gustav Baden. What if it haunts you, grandchild? What if I have cursed our family? Give me a moment here. Your brother is going to lecture me on my superstitious ways. You should continue looking for Baden at the outpost marked up ahead.
Okay, a little bit to go. Don't worry, Grandpa, I would love to see the ghost jackal. That would be quite awesome to see. The ghost jackal most likely is one of two things. It's either mange, which is an infestation of mites that results in hair loss and a whole bunch of skin-related issues, and the animals can appear quite weird as a result. Or it could be some kind of other disease, or perhaps it is leucism or albinism. So leucism being a lack of pigment, and albinism being a lack of the pigment melanin specifically.
Thanks for listening to your grandfather without judging him. You're almost at the outpost. Also, I have some news. The coroner recovered those poachers' bodies, or what's left of them.
Okay, interesting.
Made it. Any signs of Baden?
Nope.
No? Oh, this is bad. Very bad.
Ah, there we go.
What a mess. What kind of mampara gives away perfectly good gear to strangers? Gustav Baden, our mampara of the month. Has he left another note?
Yes, he has.
I have to give Baden credit. He's an even bigger mampara than I thought. Poisoning himself with fungus and scaling the plateau is perhaps the stupidest thing I have ever heard happening at Vurhonga. And I've been here 45 years.
Okay, so probably gone up the plateau. Interesting. Now we're going to walk around after, or run after him.
All right. With any luck, Baden's stranded at the top of the plateau. So far, you've saved several animals. Today, you're going to save a mampara. Follow Baden's tracks to reach this base camp of his.
Okay, there we go. That's Gustav Baden's tracks.
Footprints, great. At least he has proper footwear. And he seems to be capable of walking in a semi-straight line. Follow him. Wait, are there jackal tracks alongside Gustav's?
Yes.
Well, that leaves us with a question. Was Gustav following the jackal, or was the jackal following Gustav? The only way to know is to find them. And based on where you are, I'm betting they were on their way to the Weeping Face. Check it out up ahead.
Alrighty. Let's do a bit of a mountain climb. This landscape, well, not quite, but I don't know, it just reminds me similar to what we saw in January with the Golden Gate Highlands National Park here in South Africa. Also just kind of went up the cliff faces with a little hiking trail. Really quite amazing place to also visit. But we'll talk about that again at some point. I have actually, I think, talked about the Golden Gate Highlands National Park in one of the Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey videos that I made recently, or relatively recently.
You're just about up to the Weeping Face? Tourists and film crews love this spot. I don't need to explain the name, do I? I mean, it's a face that looks like it is weeping. What else would you call it?
There it is. There's the face, the eye over there, nose, and then mouth. It looks kind of like a weeping skull to me, but oh well. I'm guessing that there's some kind of waterfall that runs along there when it rains.
So, base camp is in the middle of a puddle. Mampara.
Not a great place. Like if you are in a malaria area, you definitely don't want to actually camp next to a pool like this. Stagnant water would of course be where all the mosquitoes are breeding, and you would be swarmed by mosquitoes at night, and you are going to die. You're going to contract a whole bunch of stuff. So, best to stay away from the pools, at least at night. Anyway, of course the mosquitoes can fly quite fast, so you're not safe anywhere.
What
But
if he didn't leave this stuff here on purpose? What if he was being chased? Or at least if he believed he was being chased. Let's hope Baden is stranded or passed out at the broken bridge up ahead, and not splattered against the ground below. I posted warning signs all over that bridge to keep mamparas like Baden out. It doesn't stop them from trying though, does it?
okay, he has definitely kind of lost his mind due to the mushroom. Of course, the fungus.
Of course, the sky is belching right when we're trying to save this mampara from himself. Hurry, grandchild, and be careful. Mind your step up there. Mind the ghost.
Yeah, so there's a nice storm brewing here. This is quite cool. I love these types of thunderstorms that you find in the savannah. in the summer rainfall areas in South Africa. You'd be sunny in the mornings, and listen to that wind. Oh man, I love that. So you'd have a sunny morning, and then around midday it just suddenly starts. You can see a little cloud on the horizon. It looks like a little tiny little thundercloud, and then by 3 o'clock it looks like this, and it starts pouring. So we've got quite a long hike up there. We also have a little landmark over here just to talk about the weeping face, I guess. But yeah, obviously weathered by the rain and by water, with rainwater being slightly acidic. Whenever there's a rock that contains a lot of carbonates, so CO3s, then that dissolves quite easily. Calcium carbonate, for example, will dissolve very easily. And it may be that this rock contains a bit of that. And then actually dissolves in the rainwater a little bit, resulting in these little caverns forming. But as I was trying to say, but grandfather keeps on interrupting us. Some animals, like lions and leopards, for example, when they are very, very old, and they are no longer able to actually catch prey, wild animals, they then do start developing a taste for human flesh. Now, instinctively, they try to stay away from humans. They know us as predators and danger. But if they are unable to eat and starving, then a starving creature will do anything possible to survive. When faced with your own death, any alternative is preferable, and then they will sometimes attack humans. Of course, once they have caught a human and they then, in inverted commas, develop that taste for flesh, they of course will go more and more because they know, okay, well, I can catch these weird monkeys running around, so, let's go for that. And there have been some cases, for example, with the Ghost in the Darkness, the two lions in the Tsavo region of Africa, that have terrorized the railway workers back in the day. And those two males were an anomaly, though, because they actually they weren't that old. They were very much capable of catching wildebeest and carrying on as usual, but they had caught some humans and then developed a taste for human flesh. They realized that we are actually quite easy to catch, and they therefore started targeting humans. But most of the time, predators do try to stay away. They try not to catch humans, except if they are really, really starving. Especially old individuals, their teeth are worn down, they're not as good at stalking and running and catching their prey and then actually killing their prey as well. Let's see what's there. There's a springbuck up on the mountain here. Oh, it's probably up on the plateau. Yeah, they would be up on the plains here. That's quite cool. Yeah, I am terrified of heights, and I am terrified of rickety old structures, so we're going to combine both of some of my greatest fears when we get there. So yeah, gonna be interesting. So when we have actually completed the main missions and some of the side missions of the Vurhonga map here, it is of course then time to go on to another reserve, and I'm going to put a poll up on the YouTube page.
Good. You found the broken bridge. What about Baden?
You'll find out now, Grandpa. Don't stress. Anyway, I'm going to put a poll up on my YouTube page, and then in 2 weeks' time we'll look at which one was chosen. So you guys get to vote which map you would like to see me do next. Now, we first now going to do the 4 latest maps, so that will be the options. And then after that, some of the 4 older maps are going to be options. And then we'll work through those ones as we go along. So have a look on the community tab on my YouTube channel to go and see, or to vote for the map you would most like to see. I see Louise.
That looks like a bit of the Jacket Baden War. You need to collect it so we can confirm.
Does look like it.
Be careful. You're no Mampara, but gravity will pull you down same as anyone else.
I really don't like this. Like, I would not walk across this bridge. Like, even if this were a solid structure, I would not walk across this bridge. If there were water under me, maybe. But as it is, no, not a chance. I would walk across this. Look, there's even one broken. No. No. Definitely not. Okay, so here's a jacket. And, of course, that happens.
Grandchild, hello. What happened? Grandchild. Little brother, get a drone out there and find your sibling. I don't care about the weather. Grandchild, listen to me. We're going to find you. You will be okay. You have to be okay. Please, ancestors, protect your grandchild. The Noi hunter who came home to honor you. Grandchild, if you can hear this, I'm sorry for everything. This ghost jackal, that bridge, it's all my fault. I failed you. Grandchild, you're moving again. If you can hear me, you're close to a cave. That cave is where the jackals kept their den. I don't know what the ghost jackal wants from you, but I tell you this. A hunter with a pure heart like yours should not fear the dead. You will be protected by your integrity, guarded by your ancestors, even as you journey into darkness.
Though I walk through the valley of death, I shall fear no evil. As we walk towards the cave over there. Now, this then, of course, is where we are going to call it a day for now. We will carry on and find out what the ghost jackal wants from us in the next episode. So until next time, everybody, stay safe. We will see you all soon. Bye!